So today we're going to be talking about getting started using AI agents with Dheeraj Sharma today. I am so honored to have uh, Dheeraj here today. Okay, I'm going to introduce myself. Okay, I help women who have been marginalized elevate their voices, stop surviving power systems, and start leading with freedom, influence, and authority. And that's why AI is so important, because the tools that the administration and other entities have decided to institute, okay? And the reason why a lot of us have lost our jobs because of it, okay? We're going to utilize these same tools to take our country back, okay? Utilize these same tools. And Dheeraj here, he's going to help us to figure that out, okay? We're going to start talking about his um, leadership journey and what brought him to Substack, and how he is utilizing his systems to help entrepreneurs soar to greatness. Okay? Now, Dheeraj here, he is the founder and content creator of GenAI Unplugged. Okay? He is a AI systems expert dedicated to helping solopreneurs scale their revenue through intelligent automation without increasing their workload. Okay? Now, how does that sound to you? Since all these organizations decided to utilize these tools to cut their staff, okay, we're here today to figure out how we can use these same tools to overcome these barriers so we can soar in our entrepreneurship and with our subscribers and everybody that follows us. Okay, so he is the creator of Gen L, okay, Unplugged, where he provides plain English, no fluff tutorials on building these agents and workflows. Now, I am going to include his other information in the article, and we're going to concentrate today on the conversation as we learn new skills, okay, and new terms. So, Dheeraj, thank you so much for joining us today. I am so honored to have you here, and out of all the people that I have came in contact with regarding AI, you are one of the nicest and most professional individuals
Thank
that
you.
I have met, and I am honored
Thank
to be
you.
in partnership with you. Okay, so
Thank
can you
you.
please,
Okay.
talk to us today about your leadership journey before coming to, and then what brought you to Substack, and where you are today in your AI journey.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Margaret, for having and giving this opportunity to be over here, talk about my experience. So, like you have already explained, like I'm building GenAI Unplugged. The vision behind it was basically create or democratize kind of the knowledge of AI with everyone. So that's where I started with. So I'm like a long-term content creator, been creating content for almost like 17 18 years now. So I mean, in the earlier part of the travel side as well, I used to be more philanthropic, where I would share more and more information to travelers, connecting local peoples with directly with them. And then sometime like last year, I wanted to kind of get into this AI world. I'm like a fairly technical guy, have been into industry for a very long time, building enterprise applications, right? Like for 20 years. So then like I want to like jump into AI on the consumer side of it, especially like to help my content creation aspects of my travel blog. And that's where the journey started. I started learning about N8N, which is like more like an AI automation platform. From there, things started moving. I started publishing a course, free course on my YouTube channel for people to learn N8N from like very basics. And then I think like around November ish, Claude started to pick up a lot, right? So Claude Code, everybody was talking about that, and then like everyone wanted to jump into it. So similar thing for me as well. I wanted to like learn And then slowly I started realizing that, hey, this is something that can automate, I mean, majority of what I want to do. uh, Instead of like, hopping into various tools, let me focus and get deeper into learning the Claude side of it, or Claude Code, or Claude general chat, Claude projects. Earlier it was, right? So from there, like, this whole journey started, and then like I started migrating all my n8n automation workflows into Claude, which was like more like a home. Then in that case it become like a content OS, which was all segregated in n8n workflows. So I mean, like, after the goal with the n8n was, I mean, when I started learning about it, I was not finding, like, I'm a guy like who would learn from very basics, like, what is a class, what is an object, and I was not able to find that kind of information, a structured form of a course or structured information available for anyone like to go in. Most of the most of the course material that was there was mostly around like demos, like solving a particular use case, but that was fairly limited. But I was not able to understand, okay, how did the data flow from there to there. So the way I was learning, I started publishing it. Like, in the end, it's like almost like 47 lessons across like various episodes. It's all there, and that was the goal. Then again, learning with the Claude Code side of it. So I was like experimenting with like LinkedIn first. I started posting on LinkedIn, and then somebody told me that, Substack is a better platform to go in. And you are a blogger, so you would find it like very interesting to write, because writing still exists. I was like, kind of the opinion that writing has died and like only videos work nowadays. But then like I found Substack, luckily. And then I think like November, October, I started publishing some lessons around MCP, prompt engineering. And then it's all like Claude after that, right? So once like the basics were done, I thought like it's time to deep dive into Claude. And then I started working on my own systems that I started releasing on the GenAI Unplugged newsletter. So whatever I would learn as a Claude skill or like Claude agent, I would start putting out there. Like, this is something that I'm using it to scale my content generation side of it. So let me share it with other audience as well. If I build a tool, like I build a Subflow AI, which helps you kind of get like full analytics of your Substack, as well as schedule notes and all. That was something that I built for myself, but then I released it as a Chrome extension. Again, the journey behind it, how you build it, is more important than the tool itself, at least like from my newsletter perspective. So that's what I started sharing, and started getting like good support from people. And they like my content in terms of the way I kind of share it. So that way is like the journey has been exciting. I run like a weekly show as well with Window, called One Shot Show. It's like more like lessons of AI every week. We show screen, we teach people how to build practical skills with every episode. So that's more like a kind of a background of like how my journey started, where am I, what I do, why I do, kind of a stuff.
Awesome. Now let me ask you, because um, I see people using, you have Chat GPT over there and Claude. So I've retired. I've retired Chat GPT. I no longer use it, and now I'm
Mhm.
using Claude exclusively, which I actually find better.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, so I believe like it's like an era where things progress very fast. What I always teach, like I run some like cohorts as well in my neighborhood, like in-person classes on AI and all. So I mean, like, what I teach everyone is that, hey, I mean, you need to understand the basics, right? The fundamentals should be clear, and then like all these toolings would basically be available for you to shift upon, right? So for example, like, since I would say the Claude thing really started picking up like in the October 2025 or maybe September. Then like that was like the initial stages. And then November, December, January, like it's like everybody was on Claude, right? Everybody wanted to be on Claude. And now what I've started seeing is like there is a pattern recently in this month, especially like with GPT 5.5, people have started moving back. I am also thinking of like, okay, kind of being in between both of them, kind of use both of them, and see like what is working. So what helps anyone in this today's world is basically having the foundation strong, and understanding like all these things operate in a similar way, right? So you don't need to like change everything. As long as you have a problem to solve, you have automated with one tooling, without too much of decoupling, you can easily import or export it into some other tool. For example, like this time Codex instead of Claude Code, CLI. So the Codex, which is ChatGPT version of Claude Code, provides you the migration path as well, so you can easily migrate. So I mean, again, like I would say, like for majority of us, or majority of people, right, you will not go wrong with any of the model. The real value lies in documenting and mapping your process and the problem. And once you have done that, you would be able to identify what you have to automate. And once you have automated, I always recommend that you stick to a particular set of tooling that works for you. Don't keep on jumping from one tool to another tool, right? Because like nothing is going to drastically change for you unless until something like a Nano Banana Pro, which is like an image generation model that solve the text problem, right? That is something, a breakthrough in the AI world that happened, and then of course you shift to it. But if there is like a marginal improvement, you don't need to like change your tooling and all. Just stick to what you have built. If the automation is working, there would be 10 other problems for you to solve rather than just keep on migrating from one system to or one tool to another, right? So I mean that's what I recommend. So I mean, like if ChatGPT 5.5 is working for you, which is like very good in terms of like at par with Opus type of a thing. Claude limits are like very very annoying, I would say. Once you start using them, you realize that you want to do more work, but then usage limits hits, and then like you cannot do, right? So I mean, like even with like I pay like $100 for a max plan, but even like I keep on hitting the limits. So that's like it's a little kind of annoying, and in a way that they keep on saying that they have doubled the limits and all that. Even yesterday as well, there was a recent announcement that they have doubled the limit, but I don't see like any changes in it. One week it is fine, other week it could be something else, right? So I mean, it depends upon the usage as well. But again, you use like one tooling in general, and then like stick to it. Main thing is that you should start saving time for yourself with those systems.
Yeah, just the notes alone, you can save 2 or 3 hours a day, which you can devote to something else, learning another skill, or working on new content, or projecting, your future proofing. Okay, now let's talk about it. The main thing I would want it for to do all the things that I would want a VA to do. Okay, all the repetitive tasks. Okay, one thing that we talked about is the notes. The other thing is like scheduling coordination, meeting recaps, status updates, reoccurring reports, okay, data entry, and CRM updates, which are all of these things are critical tasks that has to be done when you have a business.
Mm-hmm. Right. 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 So I mean, like these are some of these tasks that can easily be automated, right? So when you think of, I would say like reading, writing, discussing, comprehension, thinking about, think brainstorming, uh, having a sparring partner to challenge your thoughts, all these basically are candidates where AI can be applied, right? So what absolutely anyone have to do is, so AI is there for you to solve any type of problem, right? you ask it an answer, it is going to, I mean, when I say any type of problem in these categories, right? Writing, reading, comprehension, right? And chatting, discussing, all that. But the main thing is that you have to be um, you, right? So how do you give your inputs or your DNA to AI, so that everything that gets output from AI is like you have written it, you have talked about it, you have spoken it. So that's the main, I think, fundamental of leveraging the AI first. And then you should just be aware of, okay, so I always recommend that everybody should go and search the Claude courses. So there is this Claude, I mean, and on their Anthropic website, right? So on the Anthropic website, if you go and search for Claude 101, you would find like a 4D framework over there of Anthropic, and that 4D framework is something that everybody should be familiar with, and because that is very, very foundational to how anyone should use uh, AI, right? So, I mean, it covers your delegation, right? It covers your discerning, it covers so all these D's respect to, like, okay, different aspects of it. And then once you start using this 4D framework from Anthropic, you would basically be able to, kind of use or leverage AI in a better and better way, because it becomes more like a habit too. So I am just trying to search, and I'll just show you if I can. Anthropic.
Yeah, yes, please.
So it's in the foundations. Let me just open that up. Let me share my screen. I should be able to see it, right? So, like,
Yes.
if you go like Anthropic, you find this, and then you would like come to this AI fluency frameworks and foundations. You would see like this, like AI fluency framework over here that covers like all the 4D aspects of it. So, like, what is delegation, what is like description, what is discernment, and what is diligence. So it covers like these fundamentals that help you work with AI, right? So that
Right.
is like, this is the fundamental that I'm talking about, right? So once you start understanding this concept of like how do you describe it, so what part you need to delegate it to AI, right? Whether you should be delegating it or not, that's a question that you would be asking. Whether, how do you define the task for an AI? And this is like something important. That's why like it's more like deep dive. You can see it's like effective prompting techniques. In that, like, there are I mean, so many frameworks. I'm not calling it 100, but like there are many frameworks. Every creator comes up with their own set of framework. But what I have seen working out effectively for me is something called RTF, which is like role. You define a role, you define a task, and you define the format that you want output of. And then on top of it, you can provide examples, that is in technical terms called few shot. In once anyone goes through this course, they will be able to understand what I'm talking about. Zero shot, few shot. Few shot is like AI, you are showing AI some examples, right? So that's like
Yes.
few shot, you tack on RTF. And then there is something called chain of thought, where you ask AI to think before answering, right? Write steps before answering. It's much similar to, like, for example, there are two students, they are giving like or solving math problem. My son, he will solve like everything in head, and then like show me him, I like, hey, I mean, how did you come to the answer, right? And then
Right.
he will explain me the step, then only I'll get confident that your answer is correct. Otherwise, I'm not able to get confidence that whether he got the answer correct or not, because it has been like 20-30 years I've stopped what he does, right? So similar
Yes.
way, I think that this kind of a thing works, which is like chain of thought, that you get more confident in the answer that you are getting back. So that's where like the description part comes in. And then discernment is again, similar thing, whether you will put your name on it, right? Whatever the output has been produced, whether you are okay to put your name in that. And then finally, it's diligence, that you're seeing whether there is a bias or not, whether it is accurate or not, it is not hallucinated. So once you like get used to this AI fluency framework from Anthropic, it's like there are others as well similar to it, but I find it like very very kind of interesting and fundamental. After a period of time you would notice that it becomes a habit, like once you are like working with AI. So that's like something I always recommend: go and learn about the AI fluency framework from Anthropic. The 4Ds are important, and this RTF with the I would say like chain of thought and few short examples or few short technique. This thing is like very very basic when we are talking to it. And then it is all about, okay, how do you provide your writing samples, how do you provide your past emails, right? So once you have set up in that manner your AI system, it could be Claude, it could be Codex or ChatGPT projects, you don't need to repeat it again and again to it, because all this context is loaded. Best is like, if you're non-technical, start with Cowork always. Create a project in Claude Cowork, and in Claude Cowork you won't need to repeat all these things again and again. You don't need to repeat all these prompts again and again. You create a folder, mention it like about me, and like just structure it in a way that what is about you. So I mean, it's like very very fundamental how you are setting it up. And then what you mentioned about like creating reports, getting the access to the Gmail account or email account, so all that becomes like a connector. But then like your AI would know how you would reply, because you have like structured it in a way, right? And that's how like you start leveraging in a right way.
Yeah, because as we know, there's a lot of marketers, a lot of coaches, a lot of therapists. You're doing content, and you have to talk to clients and subscribers and all of these things, and then you have to find time to do the personal things and to pick up your kids and do all of these things. So if you're using AI, it takes care of everything seamlessly, so you have more time to do the things that you love doing and need to do.
I
Is that
think,
right?
Margaret, that is, I mean, in my experience of past 5 months, it's like a dream that is being sold by AI. I sell it to, like on GenAI Unplugged, that you would get time back. You actually don't get time back. You
Really?
start spending more time, because what happens is that we are, I mean, at least majority of us want to do more, right? Want to achieve more,
Okay. Okay.
right? And
Yes.
then like
Yes. Yes.
the moment you start getting time, you start thinking, hey, I mean, now I can do this as well, instead of like realizing that I mean, it's really hard to think in a way that now I have started saving 1 hour, I have to go and go for a walk, or spend more time with family, or do something else, because that life is already set. I mean, I have got an extra hour. I would like say, okay, how can I write 2 more articles now, right? How would I create one more
Yeah.
video now, right? So I mean, like our
Right.
mind start thinking that way, at least for me in the initial growth, because like I'm like towards that. So it's always like a struggle to like succeed more because you have more time. So that's what I have experienced personally, and very very bluntly, very very openly I'm sharing this. um, Even in my tagline it says that you will get your time back. It hardly happens unless until you are absolutely into a business which you have automated with the help of AI, or someone else has automated it for you with the help of AI. Definitely you would start saving your time, because you were already not kind of involved into that aspect of automating or working yourself. You had your VA, something like you were paying your VA, your AI is doing it for you, so you stop paying your VA, you start saving that money. So those kinds of things, definitely you
No.
start
No offense.
get getting kind of back in your life. But for someone like me who is like a creator, I would like always find a new problem to solve, because earlier I could not solve that problem because there was no AI. But now with the AI, I don't need like a visual designer, I don't need like a video editor, I don't need like so many skills out there. But then like it all comes down to you, right? You need to learn that, you need to implement that, automate that. So it's a dream that everybody sells, that you get time back. but only true for real businesses, not for the creators or practitioners or builders who are using AI to build things. Of course, you can scale and you will continue to scale. I may be writing only one article. If it was all manual, today I write 2 to 3 articles on an average. But like again, it goes through the entire pipeline. The process is set up, but setting that up requires a lot of effort, time, energy. But once you have set up, you can scale. But if you feel that it will start saving me time, I don't think, because you will start seeing other avenues, other opportunities to go and deep dive into it.
And so what you're doing is building a ecosystem which runs itself, and then you can get all the analytics. You can basically run your entire publication.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
also utilize the tools to also automate your LinkedIn, automate your Facebook, your YouTube, everything, right? Correct.
yeah. To an extent, yes, you can do that. Like it depends upon like what basically you want to achieve with it, right? If you want to like just you have to choose one platform for sure, right, and actively work on it, and then rest everything is like more of a repurposing towards other platform, right? So but like one platform, you have to definitely choose 1 or 2 platforms where you have to go deep, and for me those are like Substack and YouTube. So that's like I like for the past few months I have not been focusing much on my YouTube channel, but like I'm like pretty inconsistent, but like I have started changing it for the past 2 weeks. So yeah, I mean like those two are my primary focus, and then everything else that is out there, those are like all the emissions or nuggets that comes out of these two platforms. They get repurposed and auto get posted. So these are some things that you can create good automations with AI, so that you don't need to go to LinkedIn, you don't need to go to like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. It'll keep on posting on those channels.
Perfect, perfect. And so, with all of these things in mind, um, what are some safeguards that we need to put into place?
Yeah, I mean, see.
Because,
Mhm.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So from the safeguard perspective, you have to always check. I mean, first define those safeguards, right? What those safeguards are, and there are like different categories of safeguards, right? So I just recently published an article about like so what are like the workflow contracts. So it's like a little targeted to n10 automation, but then like it can be applied to any type of automation that you are building with AI. But more or less I talk about what are your input contracts which are there, like the data that is coming in. How are you going to like safeguard that data? How are you going to like prune triage that data, right? Once the output gets produced, what are your output contracts around it, right? So what do you define from the governance and guardrails perspective in your outputs? So these are like two fundamental kind of contracts that you have to first define, and then like the third type of contract that I call it is more on the error contracts, right? So when the error is happening, how you want your system to behave. So once you have defined these three types of contracts are very very necessary for any type of system, to start thinking about guardrails perspective, to start thinking about the safeguards and the governance aspect of it, plus the foundation we have already spoken about, that if you want AI to generate something out, then how is it like going to be your voice, right? So that's where basically your foundation is established, but then you cannot just rely on that foundation because AI is going to like make up things. So for that you would need to have these three layers or three types of contract safeguards in place in order to make sure I know like things start getting complex. And I was like with the live with the someone else as well recently in this week, and in fact my own show, right? So I mean I basically said on that it's easy with AI to get to the 80% of the problem that you're solving. So see, the 20% you can get to the 80% of the problem solution
Mhm,
with
mhm.
20% of the time, but the remaining 20% is going to take up that 80%. So I hope like you are going to you are following me. So it's like if you have like 100 minutes, probably in 20 minutes you will solve 80% of your automation problem. But then like those 20 minutes which are left, right, or 20% of the problem that is yet to be solved, which is all this, error handling, performance, security, how do you publish it, how you make it live, how you deploy it, how do you safeguard it, how do you remove bias from it, how do you make sure like quality is like up to the standards. All this is what we call like kind of non-functional requirements, right? So I mean basically from those aspects, that is what the journey takes time, right? Demo is easy, being dependable, that's what my series is, demo to dependable. Dependable is being a little difficult, or it takes more time to get there.
Now, Lens has a question here. He said workflow, contracts, and then he got a question mark in between there, then
Yeah, and
contracts
then
and error.
like yeah, let me paste the link so that like everyone can read that. Just one second. So it's like input contracts, output contracts, and then there are error contracts, right? So I just pasted a link to the recent article that I published around it. So you can like go through all this. Let me like share the screen and maybe like walk over some aspects around it, as that we have. So again, this is something that is kind of applicable to NA10, but then like you can just use this as an example. NA10 workflow is just an example of why these things matter, right? So there is like essentially it is input, output, and error validation that is there. And you would like find like pretty much everything, like what is unexpected inputs can do, what AI outputs drift can happen, and why what silent cascade failures can result into. So some many things that you can basically um, see, like why your automation breaks, or it could be like a regular automation, or it could be like just normal AI automation that you are building. So I mean like it details out pretty much all three types of contracts, if somebody wants to go ahead and read it. And I provide some examples as well towards the end. And I know like it's a plugged in post, but like my job is like to at least share all the information, like kind of for free. And then like convenience is paid, like if you like you want to download the files and all, then you get like into paid membership. But again, like the idea of GenAI Unplugged is to provide like all the knowledge that I have, without any kind of charges or anything, right? So I mean you will be able to read the concept properly from it.
Well, that's great. I'm gonna ask you a question, and I should probably know the answer, but I don't. What's the difference between a chatbot and an Al agent?
Yeah, so see, so chatbot, like when you are involved into it, right? So the first layer of interaction with AI is chatbot, right? You want to go, you chat about it, you come back, right? So now that chat is your session, right? Now let's suppose you want a similar type of work to be done, but then like you want to, you would go again, you would basically open up a new chat, you would explain everything about yourself, about your business and all, right? So you would do all that. You are the middleman, you are still copy pasting from different places and providing it. So what happens is, from chatbot, generally people graduate, or used to graduate into something called projects. It could be chat gpt projects, or it could be Claude projects. Now more or less projects are getting obsolete. If you are into chat gpt world, there is still projects, right? But if you are into Claude world, there is co-work, right? So there is something called
Yes,
co-work.
yes,
So
right.
in co-work you can just open co-work and provide everything into a folder, right? So the difference between the project and the co-work is that in co-work works on your system, so all the files you can keep it in a folder hierarchy on your system. Whereas when you create a Claude project, you would be uploading files into the project, which gets uploaded into Claude sandbox, right? And then it does
Right.
not have access to your system. So co-work has obsoleted, And in fact, Coworks also has projects. So in Cowork projects, everything gets like the normal regular projects gets obsolete. So you graduate from chat, okay, regular chat where you have to keep on explaining again and again, to Cowork, which can help you automate anything, right? So that's what I tell like everyone that who is like non kind of a technical or semi technical. I think Cowork does a fair job in automating whatever you want, right? You just need to explain it with clarity. As long as you can explain your problem in a more clear manner, again going back to that 4D framework of Anthropic, where the description part is important. So the moment you define that description properly, you will be able, Claude Cowork will help you automate those tasks, right? And then if you have to create an agent out of it, you can just ask it to, like, hey, build an agent out of it. Agent is something that can work autonomously, take actions autonomously without you providing it input again and again. It's like a prompt, but then like it's completely defined in a way that, hey, pick up these files from this folder, learn about them, and then perform this task. And then after performing this task, save the output on this and this folder. So instead of in the chat you would be doing all that stuff, right? But here, because you have defined everything in agent, it can work on behalf of you. Again, it's like non-technical definition of it, but just on the understanding part of it, that's at a high level. That's how I understand like agent versus chat.
That is awesome. This is like Al 101 for me. Okay. So
Thank you.
does yes, thank you. Does anybody have any questions? So yeah, I just canceled my Chat GPT subscription, which is $19 a month. And so maybe I need it back, but whatever.
No, you
Okay.
don't need it back. If you moved it to Claude, then that's fine. Like, just you start using Claude. That's okay.
Yeah, but then you said that 5.5 or whatever, you was thinking about going back. So it's
No, no. I mean,
I
like,
do like
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, see, like, every person would have like different type of work, and then like I build a lot, right? So that when I say build a lot, I build like application real, systems in the form of, let's suppose, web applications or products or multiple things, right? So in that manner, my usage limits exhaust very quickly, right? Because every time, like
yes,
even if I'm
yes.
talking right now, three sessions are working in parallel, building something or doing something for me, right? So my way of working would completely be different from yours or somebody else, right?
Sure.
My needs are
Sure.
completely different. So you don't need to jump. Like if I'm moving to Codex, you move. There is no difference, like as such. Like I said, like for I mean, when you go into nitty gritties, then it's fine, there are differences, but then there is nothing revolutionary between Opus 4.7 and GBT 5.5. It's okay, like Opus got bad or worse than like 4.6, but then like GPT got better in terms of understanding the problem. But then like that is does not give you an answer to like just move your system out of it. I want to
I
move
don't
because
want
like
to.
what I can do is then I can create a bridge, right, between Codex and Claude. And then like I can get like a $20 chat GPT subscription, and I continue my $100 Claude. And then when Claude is hitting the limits, I can use that $20 instead of like paying $200 to Claude. I would like paying like $120 to get me unstuck, right? And then also test out whether the results are better in GPT 5.5 or not better, right? If the results are better over there, then probably like I'll slowly start shifting towards it. But I'll never completely say that, okay, I'll always be this guy or I'll always be that guy, unless until like I'm saying, if there is something very revolutionary that has happened, something like images being generated with Nano Banana Pro, or now ChatGPT 2 images are equivalent to it, I don't find any reason for anyone to move around once you have established your system.
Good, good. That's
Yep.
perfect. That's perfect. Um, does anybody have any questions for Daraj while we're here? Um, so
Yes. Mhm.
One of my biggest pet peeves is YouTube. Okay, I want to automate that thing because it's so much with the end screens and the chapters and all of these things. It's just too much, and I don't want to renew the vidIQ or the Tube Buddy. And so if I can use AI and get rid of those two systems, that's going to save a lot. So AI allows us to eliminate unnecessary tools. Like right now, I have the script, and I also have a Canva. Why do I need both? Okay, because the script I have to keep paying for credits. Okay, so I'm going to start using the audio on Canva. Now, how can I use AI and maybe eliminate the Canva? I don't even know if I can. So, as
Yeah.
many
So
subscriptions, go ahead,
yeah,
talk
I
about
think
it.
yeah, I think you can remove Canva for sure. Like I used to use Canva and that used to take time. I mean, manual editing the templates or, for my YouTube thumbnails. Now you can use Nano Banana Pro or, GPT-4 2 images. That's more or less or completely fine. Like if you structure the prompt in a fine way, you will be able to produce images that gets produced out of Canva. So it's just about like drafting the prompt, right? There is an app called glyph.app, right? It provides some free credits as well. You can use that as well to generate images. So 200 credits are free, like every month one image is 11. So I think like get like about what 110 19 18 19 images free of cost every month. So if you are producing like 15 to 19 images, you can use glyph.app, and I can put that into the chat as well for others. Glyph.app. So that's like pretty good app. I mean, in between this Glyph.app and GPT 2.0 images or Google AI Studio Nano Banana Pro, you can use. And like you don't need like a Canva subscription. That's what I personally feel. I got rid of it. I don't need it anymore. So that's like one way of doing it. If you have Claude, you can do a lot of editing with Claude as well. Now, regarding the other two, which is like vidIQ. So vidIQ, you can again, you can get completely. You can just get rid of that subscription as well. I did a live with Kim Doyle where I showed like a YouTube agent, how to build a YouTube agent with the Claude Code. I mean, that is exactly what Kim and I did after that agent. Like, just get rid of our TubeBuddy or YouTube vidIQ subscriptions.
That would be my first thing on my list to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, you can watch that episode. Recap is posted on the GenAI Unplugged. You'll be able to build that. YouTube agent with IQ would be gone. Descript is like little different. Descript is something, it takes time. Trying to get rid of it, I'm pretty close, but then like you would require a lot of effort to build such a system, right? So I'm a builder, I'm a technical guy. I can like kind of get into it and build it, and still try to match it to my needs. But still, like the script is something that helps a lot in terms of you know um, this script based editing of the video. So I'm pretty close, but I'm getting there. But two, of course, like I can straight away give you the answer that Canva and vidIQ can go away.
I knew we got along for a reason because I worked with the engineers for 39 years. So you a left brain thinker and I am too. So let's go. Okay. Yes, yes, I love it. So anything that I can eliminate, any money that I spend I can eliminate, I want to do just that. Okay. Put the money where it belongs in the bank. And to get a few pennies interest, I'll take it. Okay. Um, Anybody have any questions here? Yeah, I need to start automating all this stuff. That way I can spend more time making content, which I love to do. I love to talk and I love to create content. Okay? I don't like all that other stuff. Okay? So there it is. We got to utilize these tools.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
It's a necessary evil in today's world. Okay? I can't keep up without it, right?
That's true.
You
That's true.
can't.
So you have to
Absolutely.
get used to it. But yeah, I mean, like
Yes.
start small. That's what I'll say in the end. Start small. Start with one thing. I think somebody posted as well. Tree grows from the seed. That's how you do it. You start one thing at a time, and like over a period of time, it will grow.
Well, talk to us about how they can get in contact with you. Oh, I did have a question. I want to ask you about this Visual Studio Code. Now, what's that about? That you need that system too, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you don't need it actually, because if you are
Okay.
working in co-work, like co-work, a cloud co-work, you don't need Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is something that's something like, maybe like I'll use. So in order to use Claude Code, either you can use the terminal, which is like command line utility, right?
Mm-hmm,
Either you can
mm-hmm,
work in that. The
mm-hmm,
disadvantage of working in a terminal is that you don't get to see the files, you know that you are not
mm-hmm,
able to
mm-hmm,
view the files it is working on. Visual Studio
mm-hmm.
Code is a code editor that has an integrated terminal, so you can open the terminal inside Visual Studio Code, and on the left hand side it will show you like all the files of the folder that are there. So if Claude is editing any file, creating any file, you can just view them over there. So but you don't need it, I would say. Like if you are non-technical, semi technical, just use Cowork is going to do like 90% of the work, or even 95% of the work that Cloud Code can do for you.
Yeah, right. So what I did was I had paid for Perplexity, okay, uh subscription. So what I do is, before I would like to automate my whole podcast process, okay? Because I'm repeating the same task for every podcast. So if I automate that, then it'll be much easier for me to concentrate on future ones, okay? Future planning and everything like that. So I put my bio together for the person, in Perplexity. Okay, I made all of my logos. So the first ones I had was crap. They looked like crap. Okay, so I told it what to do. I gave it the colors and everything, and then boom, it looks beautiful. So I'm like, hey, I didn't have to pay, because what I was doing before, I had to go to Fiverr to pay somebody to do it. Okay, I
Mhm.
know AI is taking jobs. Oh well, and a lot of times you pay somebody for something, you like, I could have did better than that. It's not
Right.
really up to my standards. So if you put it in the system and you look at it, it's like, oh, this is real good for paying no money. I put it up there, it looked real good. So you know you continue to teach yourself new skills, and by utilizing these agents, we don't have to keep repeating the same task 20 times in one day.
Right. Right.
Okay, that's insanity.
That's
Okay.
true. But you start with small, one case, right? Start with one case,
Yeah.
keep for complete that, and then like you jump onto the second one, then third one, then fourth one task at a time.
Yeah, but the system is doing it, and then I'm doing working on something else. Okay, so it's like we got a system going here. Like when they like the auto plant. You know,
Yes.
it
Yes.
has it has its flow. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's
Right.
doing this work it's doing this work in the background while I'm doing something else.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so that's what I
That's
love
true.
about it. Okay, I love that. Yeah, so that's the first thing on my plate is automating my YouTube. Okay, period. Because more and more people going to YouTube now since Substack is growing. So okay, so I got to make sure that all my dots are dotted and the T's are crossed. Okay, because that helps to increase your visibility, your impact, and your influence, and that's what we all about over here. Okay,
Right.
how do we do that? And that's why we bring in smart experts like yourself to help us to elevate.
Thank
So
you.
tell, so yes, thank you. So tell everybody how they can get in contact with you.
I mean, like you can just contact me on the Substack. Pasted a link of the article as well. Just DM me. I'm always reading my DMs. I mean, generally I reply within a day or two. Mostly spend time like in Substack or YouTube. So I mean, you can DM me over there anytime for any questions. Most of the stuff is already public. 60 plus articles are there. A couple of three courses are there. If you want to like understand Claude Code, like right from very basics of lesson 1 to all the way lesson 8, like all that is published. I mean, it's all free. Anybody can go and learn Claude Code from scratch, zero to making your own AI agents.
That's amazing because I have also subscribed to your YouTube. Okay, so wherever
Thank
you
you.
at, I want to be. So you're not on. Yeah, you on LinkedIn too.
Yeah, I mean, like you have to in today's world, like you have to be present anywhere, everywhere. But like I generally don't post. Everything is like automated. Just like YouTube and Substack is where I mostly spend time on. YouTube, like lately, has taken a backseat because of Substack participation. But I would like want to correct that in this month. So I'll be back to YouTube with the monthly or I mean weekly 2 videos from it. And then yeah, I mean like Substack will continue to be where it is right now. I'm happy with the way content is being produced over there. The demo to dependable series is a 10 lesson series, so I mean like I'm excited about writing it. The Claude Code course is already published, anybody can learn it. Open Claw, I kind of like, um, compressed it into 3 articles, but like if anybody want to learn Open Claw, they can learn from there as well. And all of them are like very very comprehensive in terms of like where to get started with. And then once I finish the demo to dependable, I want to like structure a course around co-work as well in time to come. So that's the that's all. And then apart from that, I keep sharing my uh still skills agents every now and then. Whatever I create, I just publish them as is, so that like others can use it.
Yeah, because in today's world, okay, in today's world, we need to find our leverage. That's through our strengths, opportunity. It says SWOT. SWOT is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So with the use of AI, we can chart our course as we go along. And we can make detours when we need to, and then we can make changes as we need to, right? Based on the algorithm or whatever. It's like, oh, I need to change course. I need to do this instead because this is not working. So that's why data is so important. Okay, we might not get the feedback necessarily we want from our customers, right? But we can always look at the data, and the data does not lie. It tells you what's going on, right?
Right, right, that's true. That's true. Data is important.
The
Need to have
the
that.
proof the proof is in the pudding, baby, for real.
Yeah.
Okay, know that. So, um, if nobody have any questions, I'm going to thank you again, Dheeraj. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you and giving us all a very valuable lesson because I tell you now, AI is here to stay, whether we like it or not. So we have to get with the program or we're going to get left behind. Period. The choice is yours to make.
Uh, right,
Period. That's
that's
where
true.
we at today.
No, thank you for having me share my
Thank you so
experiences.
much. Thank you so
Have a
much.
good day.
I'll
All
be in
right.
touch with you.
Yeah, sure,
Thank you.
sure. And thank you
All right.
everyone for joining in. Have a good day.
Thank
Have
you.
a good weekend.
All right.
Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye. Bye bye.